Hey guys, Dan here with Battlefield Curator, and we're asking, is the Carcano the new Mosin? So what we're going to do is take an in-depth look and compare these two different rifles. As of lately, there's been a lot of Carcanos on the market, and all different types. They're priced fairly cheap, but they're not in the best condition. Some of them have functional issues, and some of them have bad borers. And as we know, the Mosin Nagant rifles have been imported into the country for many decades. What seemed like an infinite supply of Mosin Nagant 9130s has all but almost dried up. You can still find them here and there, and they might come into the country in batches and then be gone for a little while. And prices just keep steadily rising on these so-called garbage rods. Well, are we going to see the same thing with Carcanos? But before we start getting into the meat and potatoes, I'd ask you to pulverize the like button and subscribe. Helps out with the algorithm. Thanks. Interestingly enough, both these rifles started their careers at around 1891. Both of these rifles would also be chambered in the new and innovative smokeless cartridge. Okay, so now let's take a look at the ammunition. The 7.62x54R for the Mosin Nagants are plentiful and cheap. The Carcano takes a 6-round en bloc style clip that fires 6.5x52, while the Mosin Nagant fires the 7.62x54 rimmed cartridge and only holds 5 rounds in an internal magazine. The Carcano's 6.5 and the later to be designed 7.35x51 is a little harder to find, and it's more expensive. In fact, there are probably an abundant amount of surplus spam cans floating around for the Mosin Nagant, while it might be really hard to find anything for the Carcano. Now, if you just compare the two visually, they look almost alike, but there are vast differences. And don't forget, the M91 Carcano also had gain twist rifling, which was pretty innovative for its time. Both also have very differently designed bolt actions, besides being bolt action, of course. Each rifle has its own unique reputation in history. The Mosin Nagant is well known as the Soviet Union's rifle of choice for its infantry during World War II when it defeated the Nazis. The Italian Carcano rifle didn't really have a very good reputation during World War II. In fact, the Italians really aren't credited for very many victories during the war, so the rifle really doesn't get any notoriety for doing anything significant during the war. But the Carcano M9138 is very well known as a rifle that apparently was used in the assassination of JFK. Many people around the world remember that rifle for that event in history. Most Carcanos will shoot high, aiming at targets within 50 yards, and there's a certain way you have to aim and line up the sights, kind of like buckhorn sights. But as enthusiasts start picking up more of these rifles that are coming into the market and find the good ones, we realize that the rifles and the carbines are not as inaccurate as everyone thought they were. Ernest Jimenez set a world record with an M91 Carcano. I have that video linked in the description if you want to go see the evidence. Let's look at the different variants of each. If we look at the Mosin Nagant, there are plenty of variants and very many finish modified variants. Interestingly enough, the Carcano M38 in 7.35 was also used by the Finnish, making those ones somewhat collectible as well. The Finnish really took the Mosin Nagant and modified it to be a better rifle. They switched out the barrels for Finnish barrels, as you would see on some of the M91s, the M9130s, and then even went on to produce customized military rifles such as the M27, the M28, the M2830, and the M39, just to name a few. So if we get down into the production numbers, there are about 3 million Carcanos manufactured. And if we look at the Mosin Nagants, there are about 37 million produced. A vastly larger amount of Mosin Nagants worldwide than Carcanos. So that would mean that there are more Mosin Nagants on the shelves than there would be Carcanos. And now we're looking at Carcano surplus coming in, and it's priced really cheap. The Carcanos are on the market today with a market value cheaper than that of the Mosin Nagant's market value. Given the fact that we have an ammunition shortage and a huge influx of Carcanos all of a sudden, the demand for 6.5, Carcano, and 7.35 is sky high. You could still probably find 7.62x54R for the Mosins if you looked around. But just like the Mosin Nagants, once these Carcanos start drying up, the demand will probably go higher for them. So in conclusion, do I think that the Carcano is the new Mosin? Well, if we look at some of the similarities, there's a few, but not too many. And then also looking at the many differences between these rifles, I think each has its own unique collector value to the enthusiasts out there. Carcanos are cheap and abundant right now. But you have to remember that one of these days, they will run out. And for some reason, when they run out, the demand goes higher and its value goes up. So share your thoughts in the comments and let me know what you think. These Carcanos versus the Mosin Nagants. Are these Carcanos really something special? Well, that's it. I'm just giving you guys some food for thought and kind of just seeing where you guys are at and what you guys think. Don't forget to check out some of my other videos on the channel. And as always, have a great day.